Alright, what's up, everyone? So, hope y'all missed us. I'm just kidding. Okay, so today we're talking about a little special holiday that we, as a Chinese family, usually celebrates. Apologize. There's pipes.
We start? Wait. No, hold on. If it does it again, we'll just keep going.
Cut it out, yeah.
I mean, if it goes off again during our thing, we'll just keep going and ignore.
Yeah.
Does it pick it up?
A little.
Whatever. Let's just start.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. What's up, everyone? Hope y'all missed us. It's been a while. So today we're going to talk about a little special holiday that we celebrate as Chinese families or Chinese people, and that is
most Asian countries, I would say.
Oh, really? Then why is it called Chinese New Year's?
For us, it's Chinese New Year's. For like Vietnamese culture, it's called Tet.
Is it all on the same? Is it on the same day?
Because I think it's within the Lunar New Year calendar, which is why like we'll talk about it. But there's like
Asian New Year's.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I
don't know.
It's just the New Year for like people who go by the lunar calendar.
Okay. Well, I guess everyone has different thing. I don't know how like what it is, but in this case, we're talking about Chinese New Year's. It's like my sister said, based off of the lunar calendar. So it's February 12th. It's, I think, always February 12th. Or it's always in February. I don't really know the date.
It changes because the lunar year like.
Yeah, but it is in February.
Yes, right? It is in February though.
Okay, and then this is the year of the ox.
Yeah, y'all can see all the cute little designs that they always have.
And all those little Chinese red packets and stuff. So, what is Chinese New Year's, right? We celebrated this every year since we were born. Or since we could remember, right?
Yeah.
But what is Chinese New Year's? What do we do? What makes it so special? Why do we always celebrate this?
Yeah, I mean, good question. It's like the same for us. It's like, I feel like, because in our culture, that New Year's is like far more important. Like that represents the true start of the new year, and a lot of our holidays are based on the lunar calendar. So obviously, we gotta do some big event, right?
Yeah.
Like it's the same. It's like for like New Year's, like January 1st, everyone's like, yes, that's their new year. But for us, it's like, yeah, that's like the start of the year. But it's not like for us like anything that goes with it. Like, we don't have like parties usually. Like there's no extra thing that we like usually have to do or need to do. But for Chinese New Year, it's very different. There's like more things that we add into it because of like to start the new year well, because that is our official start. And because it's our official start of the year, it's like, yeah, then we have our own customs and traditions to go by to start that year well.
Yeah. And I think it's also it's somewhat on topic, but you see a lot of Chinese markets or Chinatown. They would decorate everything all cool and stuff during Chinese New Year's. So that's also really cool. Well, when you say traditions, what are some typical traditions that we do that is part of the culture and the event that we also partake in?
Yeah. And if I'm not going to remember everyone, but like you just chime in. But the ones that come up to mind for us that we did, so is that definitely the food part of it.
Food, okay.
Yeah. There's the food, how we dress that day, and also the things that we do beforehand to prepare. Right? So in terms of like food, so much good food as usual. I don't think there's anything for the actual New Year, like for all of y'all January 1st, but for like Chinese New Year, it's always like Nian Gao. Like we always have to have fish. I forgot why.
I think it's just like, it's kind of like good fortune, right? So I don't know if it's accurate, but because I don't remember if our parents taught it, but if you take the Chinese phrase, it's basically roughly translates to English. It's basically saying you'll catch fish every year, right? And I think it's kind of like back then, right? China's a lot poorer. They weren't as developed, and it was mostly farmland, right? So food would come from cattle, seafood, stuff like that. So I think when they say Nian Nian You Yu, that's kind of like you'll get something
Like
every
the
year. You'll
harvest,
have
right?
you'll have food. You'll be able to survive basically, and I think that's why I think that's why they want to have fish.
Yeah.
Right. As of other stuff, other foods, I don't really know, but I know we eat the, what are those called? It's kind of like fried dough, but it's not the fried dough that,
Nian Gao.
yeah, but it's not, I'm thinking about it as fried because we would usually fry it. I don't know what it's called in English.
It's basically rice cake.
Oh, okay.
Sweet glutinous rice cake.
Yes.
That usually comes in like a plastic container with like fu or like fortune on it.
Yeah.
In red and gold, always with the colors, because that's the lucky colors. And like what we usually do is we cut it into pieces, and then we like dip it in like egg, and then we fry it, and it's so delicious.
So the outside's all kind of crispy from the egg and a little bit, not really salty, right? Because the rice cake itself is really sweet. So you'd fry it, and then the rice cake becomes really soft, very chewy. Not really chewy, but like stretchy, right? So you'd have the egg that would cancel out with the sweetness of the rice cake. So that's very good.
It's really good.
And I think another thing that I don't remember if we did eat it when we were younger, but I remember in high school, so like 2-3 years ago, we started eating it. It's the baked version. Ooh, and I think that is very, very good because it's, one, not so sweet. Two, it has more of a texture. Right?
It's the regular, like mochi. Like
mochi, like, it's basically a mochi.
Yeah.
Like if you get the ones in the supermarket, like if you go to any Chinese market, I'm pretty sure if you go now, you'll probably get it like the week of Chinese New Year's and probably the week after. You'll see a bunch of these rice cakes in plastic containers. Those, if you eat it just separately or on its own, nothing else, it's kind of hard to eat, in my opinion. It's kind of hard. It's a little bit rough. There's not much of a texture. It's kind of just like eating cold red bean candy or something, right? You know, right? I don't know if many people know. No, I don't know who's watching, whatever. But the baked one is just so chewy, right? It's like mochi. It's softer.
Yeah.
But there's a chew to it. And then the top layers, the top and bottom is all baked. So it's a little softer. Yeah. It adds a different texture to it. So when you eat, it's kind of like a cake.
Yeah. It's like a chewy mochi cake. And I think that's why it's like there's so many different versions of the different like food that we have that like people have started to like create their own like style, which is like really cool. And then I think like I feel like there's always a story behind each food. So the one that I guess for like Nian Gao, which is this glutinous rice, is that it's like the year, which is Nian, and then Gao, which is like tall or like big. Does that mean like Nian Gao, like the year is great?
Or it could mean sticky cake, Gao. Yeah.
Sticky cake.
Right?
What does that mean for the year?
It's kind of like, if you think of sticky, and sticky in Chinese is Nian, that's a little sticky. It could mean that, right? And then Gao is kind of like, what's it called?
Yeah, I mean the literal version. But I meant like you know how like I feel like everything has a meaning?
Oh, true. Okay, maybe.
We can just guess the meanings and then someone correct us.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
Because we don't really talk about it. But we just know we have to eat it.
So the other food that might have a reason, I think it definitely does have a reason, is fa gao. You know, like the cake?
Oh, the one... Okay, the one I don't like eating.
Oh yeah, you don't like it.
I don't like it as much.
It's pretty good. It's like this like sponge cake basically.
Yeah.
And it's called fa gao, or I don't know. I think it's because of why it's made. But fa is like fa cai. It's like you're gonna get fortune, so we eat that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. It's good. Like the texture's good. It's like a little fluffy. It feels very fluffy. It doesn't taste very heavy, but there's like a little texture to it. So it's like pound cake, but healthier, probably. And tastes better.
I like pound cake a little better, but...
Yeah, but I just don't like it because of how it tastes. Right. And I think when you say that, I didn't remember that, but now do you remember the little Chinese plate
The
of
trays of
the
things,
trays
like
of
the sesame.
yeah. If y'all ever see it, it's cool because it just feels like it's nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like everything inside because there's some weird stuff, but it was really nostalgic because it had I think like sesame crackers, different types of sesame crackers, some sweet, some salty. It had nuts. It had this. What are those called? It's like a chewy. It's like a really thin strand of like coconut or
like
guava.
The dried coconut,
it's like dried fruit snacks.
Ooh, they're so good.
Yeah. Oh my, those bring back
so
so much memories because when we were younger, we would have. Because we had more time, right? We weren't in school. Our parents were doing well, I guess, for the business. So they would buy multiple big trays of that, and that was so good.
I remember
that.
Yeah, and obviously the Lucky Candy.
Oh, the Lucky Candy. It's like milk candy.
Yeah.
There's different type of Chinese New Year candy. And I think the one I remember the most is like a milk candy. It's in red.
It's the red, and then everything's red and gold, so it's like not helpful. But maybe we could like pop a photo or something. Yeah. But like, red candy.
Yeah, it's like a red Lucky Candy that you eat. Oh, so good. There's so many.
We'll put in links in the description about where you can get it.
Hopefully Amazon has it.
Yes, but I'm most likely.
Or just go to it if you guys are in the, 626 Valley or like anything like that. You could just go down the street and there's like a Chinese market.
Yeah, and if you are going there for groceries already, you might as well.
Yeah,
but also be safe because
and it's the first. If it's the first time going to Chinese market, hey, if you go during Chinese New Year's, you already have everything figured out because it's all in front of you. All right.
Yeah, it's literally right in the entrance. Like all the stores always when New Year's comes, it's like all of it is full of like New Year's like goodies. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah, but that's why luck, fortune, the harvest.
Good for like
success.
Yeah,
all the fruits have something related to it.
Yeah. Though we don't know what each of them mean exactly. Like, there's one that I know we eat a lot is Zongzi. I kind of describe it to my Hispanic friends as kind of like tamale, like Asian tamales. It's wrapped in leaves or like wrapped in something that you don't eat, and inside has meat. It has meat, fillings, sticky rice, like all of that stuff, right? Obviously, I know it's really different, but I don't know how to describe it. It's a much thicker, bigger version of a tamale. It's not like a one-biter. It's usually like a full meal. And I don't remember why we eat it. But I remember that if it has a certain type of rice, that's also for good fortune. And it, sometimes it has like a salted egg. It has fatty pork. It might have pork. It might be regular, just salty, green bean, sticky rice, some peanuts, chestnuts. It's really good. I like it. And then the other one that I recently started liking a little bit more was the sweet one. It's not really sweet, right? It has red bean paste. It's sticky rice too, but the sticky rice has no flavor. You dip that in some cane sugar and you eat it like that. And that's also very, very good. And
so good.
This is like another staple to Chinese New Year's, but I don't remember why. Specifically of why we eat it or why it was made.
I think as I have come to understand there's actually reason behind it. I'm like, oh wait, I should probably ask why.
Yeah,
because I feel like there's so much meaning and the reason why we do it. And I think when I was younger, I was like, either they didn't explain or I didn't pay attention. And now I was like, oh, I should really learn this because it's like when I grow older. Right, it's and it gets harder to come and be with family all the time, and even now, especially with the pandemic, it's how do you explain these things? How do you keep these traditions alive? I think it's important. That's why we're doing this episode too. It's kind of to remember. It's what do we do?
Yeah.
Why do we do the things we do? What do we not know still? Right. So that's if family is important to you and these traditions are important to you, that's really putting in the effort to figure out what the meaning is there.
Yeah.
So you can continue it in an intentional way.
Yeah, and I also think culture, especially as we're getting older, I think culture is very, very important, right? That's where your family originated from. That's what your family grew up learning. And I feel like as as the generations go on, right, we slowly lose the culture, right? So many places are trying to preserve their culture, right? I think I watched a video on YouTube where it's this master craftsman who was making this for South Korea, right? They were making kimchi vases or kimchi. I don't remember what they're called. I'm so sorry, but they're basic. It's like a very traditional type of storage for kimchi. It's made out of like a clay pot. Oh, clay pot. It's like a kimchi pot, right? And it's mandatory to keep this tradition alive, right? There's not that many people who are doing it. And I think I really want to do that with our culture, right? Because of certain family, or like family, not situations, right? But just family upbringings. The culture wasn't really passed down to us.
Yeah. And I think sometimes that happens too when like parents think it's better for kids to assimilate to the culture and they're like, oh, just learn English, don't worry about the Mandarin, or just get used to like the holidays that are here, versus like choosing to keep those alive. And obviously it's like those decisions are made in a way to like protect themselves and like figure out like how they can best like survive here in America. But I was like, it's important. Like it's important to us, at least when we talk, that to remember those things.
And I also think, especially since our parents did try to have us assimilate, but they also tried to teach us some things that really pushes me, because they probably know and they probably want us to learn more about their background, Chinese culture. But it's because of the new environment they were but they were growing up in, or like trying to make a living in, that they chose not to put that much on us. Exactly. So
it always takes more time to explain.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just think?
No, I just think it's really important, right? His culture is important.
It's part of who we are.
Yeah.
Right? Like, even if it's not explained, we have things that we just naturally do, and naturally, like, this is how we exist in the world. And, like, finding, like, knowing the reason and being able to explain that reason to, like, the people around you when you want to is like, empowering, like, for yourself to, like, know.
It definitely is.
Yeah. I think that brings the question. It's, like, because of that, like, has being in this pandemic changed how you think that like New Year's will be for us?
I think the only big change would be not having a family dinner, right? I think every year we've had a family dinner, but since we don't have many relatives here in America, most of them are back in China, we typically have like just like a family dinner, not like huge ones that you see in shows and what actual people do sometimes. But I think that's the only thing that will change. The types of food we eat and talking to our relatives, I think, would still be there. Because we are going to try to, call our parents, call their relatives, and send them Happy New Year's, all that stuff, right?
The usual greetings.
The usual greeting stuff, right? So yes, the pandemic makes it tough, right? I understand that many people out there might not, they might need this time to meet families and stuff, right? And that really does suck. For us, at least, we're very lucky that, I guess not really lucky, right? Because it's kind of sad sometimes, but it's just, it didn't affect us that much because we didn't put a lot of time. Because of, our parents being busier and us being busier, we weren't always home for dinner.
Yeah. Because also, like, here, it's like, for New Year's, everyone usually has a break.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but since it's not the New Year's here, it's kind of like, there is no break. Like, we're going to have to continue to go to school. Like, we're in the depths of, like, midterm season and like we have school and activities that don't really stop. So I think a lot of the times that goes to be like, are we able to go back, right? Because it's like if say there was no pandemic too and we weren't closer to home, like I'd be in San Diego still,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it hasn't changed much, but there is slight change, and I understand other people will probably have it differently too. But on the bright side, we'll still probably talk to them. Like, we'll still talk to our parents. We'll still hit up our relatives to see how they're doing. And I think we missed probably the most common and most popular idea when people hear Chinese New Year's. From Asian people to non-Asian people, the first thing you think about when someone says Chinese New Year's is red envelopes, right?
Hongbao, red envelopes. Yes.
That's the first thing most people think about, right? And we forgot to touch up on that, which is very interesting. But yes, one of the main big cultures or traditions of Chinese New Year's is you would go up to an older relative or your parents or whatever, and you would pray them good fortune, good luck,
good health.
Like if they're running a business, good fortune, good business, stuff like that.
Student, good studies, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and then they would give you like a red envelope, and I think there was that tradition where if you're married, I think you don't receive.
Once you get married, you don't receive anymore, right? You have to give.
Yeah, once you... Yeah, because I remember younger people cannot give red envelopes out. Yeah. Like, people our age would not be able to give red envelopes out. Our parents would have to give it.
I always remember, like during this time, especially if it wasn't the pandemic and people were meeting others, like, every person with the purse would have, like, 10 like little packets, each with like either $1 or $5, so that in the case that they meet someone that they like feel like they need to give it, they'll have one ready. And it's like the funniest thing, because sometimes we'd go and during the holiday, like the New Year, we'd help at the store or the business, and then people come in that are like friends, but we don't know them, right? But they're like, oh, they had to give it to us, because it's like the tradition. It's kind of funny.
And I remember another thing is, if our friends, before the pandemic, right? If our friends were to come over to our house, our parents would give them a red envelope. If they came any time near New Year's, they would receive one.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I'm like, now, like, even though that happens, it's like, the formality and the action of like giving a red envelope isn't there. But hey, we still have Venmo. And like Zelle, I feel like those things make it still easy to like keep the things that are still there. Yeah. And like when you video call, you still try and learn to make the food that we've eaten, or like intentionally go to stores to like buy stuff for the New Year's. Like, so there's still like, I'm glad there's still so many ways to like spend time and like
definitely
do the holidays that are still there, you know. So some things have changed because of the pandemic,
but in the end, the tradition and culture is still there, the thoughts are still there, the meanings are still there, and I think that's what matters, right? Because we all care about that, right? I'm just hoping, you know, I think one of the major things I want to do is definitely after pandemic, right? And also, we can't be going to China right now. That's hard. It's probably going to let us in.
Oh my God.
Like, no.
We don't want you here.
But my biggest goal, or one of my biggest goals, is experience Chinese New Year's in China.
I know. I really, really want to.
I want to see how it is. Right? Go back with our parents, our family, and hang out in China during Chinese New Year's. Yeah.
I want to make the trip, because my partner is Vietnamese, right? So I want to see like Chinese New Year, and also see like the Vietnamese like New Year, and see like what that would look like for each like culture, and what's the difference. Because even the food, even though they have like, you know, Zongzi, which is like the sticky rice wrapped in leaves, is different. Like in different cultures, like they have the longer ones, and they have like the triangular ones, and there's like the sweet ones. and the salty one. Like, there's so many things
Yeah.
to try and see and do, you know?
And then I want to see how it pairs up, right? Because stuff in America isn't always going to be quote unquote authentic, right? I don't really care about it. It's just how it tastes, right?
And that's why you support small businesses. Like all the stuff that we've gotten before were from like small.
Yeah, all the ones that were so good were from small businesses.
Yeah.
And so sad that since our cousin was born in, like, we have a cousin here, right? She's born in China, raised in China for the majority of her life. And when she came here and we went to that small noodle house, she said it was the best tasting noodle and so close to the one she had in China. But I think due to how poorly placed it was, how small it was, and how low key it was, they barely got business.
Yeah. It's hard. That's why it's like, oh, the small like hole in the walls taste the best. But
it was so good. And they closed down. So I'm so sad.
I know. Hopefully, y'all take this time to support the businesses, especially since the pandemic's still going on.
Yeah.
And like, order takeout from them. You know, keep in mind of your customs. Like, remember them and like take meaning in them if you haven't been able to. If that's something you want to do. So, yeah, that's something we'll both be doing.
Yeah.
This holiday.
Yes, and also, if y'all have recommendations for food,
Oh my god, yes.
please let us know.
Tell
Any
us,
type
tell
of food.
us.
Any type of food. No, Chinese food, like different restaurants, Chinese food, Vietnamese food, Japanese food, any of these. Just please. I want to know. Alright, we don't go out enough.
I know.
Even when there was a pandemic, we just never went out.
Yeah.
We just like to stay at home.
That's why a lot of things didn't change for us.
Yeah. So please comment or DM us and let us know what places we could try.
Yeah. Or like recipes that y'all have. I know
Yes,
we've been trying to
recipes.
cook more like Asian like dishes that like, are authentic to like how we eat and stuff. So
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Happy New Year.
Happy
新年
New Year.
快乐。恭喜发财。
thank you for watching.
红包拿来。
Yes.
Alrighty.